Hey paper crafters, it's Kathy Hansen. I have not done a video in months and months and months and months, but I decided it's time to try to get back into the groove, so I'm going to make a big effort to try to get a few more videos up here over the next few weeks. In any event, today we're going to make this really cute little card. I had seen this online or something very similar to it, but it was a square card, and I don't really like to make square cards because they require a little extra postage for the shape. So I kind of messed with the measurements a little bit, and I made it close to an A2 size card. It's just a little bit shorter from side to side, so it's 5.5 inches from top to bottom, 4 inches across. It still fits into an A2 envelope. It's got just a little extra space on each side, but it works just fine. So I hope that you will enjoy this video. I'm gonna take these little paper clips that I had holding it together so I could get a good first image of it. So I'll remove those, I think, hopefully without damaging the card too much, and I'll show you how it opens. Happiness is, and then you open these, love, laughter, and a lot of coffee. I'm a total coffeeholic, so I always like to make coffee cards. It requires a lot of pieces parts. My version of it, the basic card is pretty simple. It takes a little more cardstock for the base than you would normally use for a card, but it's just so much fun to make. Yes, there are a lot of pieces parts. But you don't need to write down any of these measurements because I will be posting this on my blog as well with all the measurements already there for you. But I will just kind of go through these a little bit and show you what this is. This is the card base, and it measures 7.5 inches top to bottom, 6 inches across, and then what you're going to do is score it. Actually, I flipped it over to the back because I'm folding it forward. It's 2 inches from each of these two edges, and then on the other side it is 4 inches. If you don't have a diagonal scoring tool, a diagonal board for your scoring tool, you can measure in 4 inches from each corner on the top, on the bottom, and draw a diagonal line and then score that line, and that will do exactly what you need. So this is the card base, and once you put these score lines on, it just automatically kind of, when you push these two down, it kind of automatically closes that corner up there. The other pieces I have are this little, I used my Stampin' Up! Retired triple banner punch, and I cut a piece for this piece, I cut the piece at 3.25 inches by 1.5, and then I used that punch to punch out this little part. If you don't have a punch, you would measure it at 2 7/8 inches from here to here, 1.5 inches top to bottom, and then you can just use a square punch. If you have a square punch or anything like that, you can cut that little section out. So I'm going to set that one aside. This is the backing for that piece. And for this piece, if you do not have that punch, it measures 3.25 inches from the edge, from the corner to the point, and then it's 1.75 inches tall. And if you do have the triple, it takes out a pretty big chunk of, actually I can show you a piece because I have a bunch of them on the floor from when I was punching these out. So it takes out this big chunk of paper, so you do need to add on quite a bit. It measures about another 1/4 of an inch right there. So if you do have the punch, it would be, let's see, 3.5 inches by 1.75 inches from side to side, okay, before you punch it. So I'm going to set those aside, and these two little pieces are going to go into, and this, by the way, is as I assemble it, you'll see this is going to go up into this first corner. So the adhesive is going to go here, and then you're going to place this over top of it. This is the piece that goes into this corner. This piece is 1 3/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches, and then the piece that goes on top is 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 inches. And then the same down here on this piece, it's 3 1/4 inches from top to bottom, 1 3/4 inches side to side, and then the piece that goes over it is 3 inches top to bottom, 1 1/2 inches side to side. So we can set those aside, and then we're going to take a look at the inside of the card. Oh, I've got things sticking together all over the place here. Okay, so the first piece is 3 3/4 inches from side to side, 5 1/4 inches from top to bottom, and that's going to go on the inside. This piece is 3 1/2 inches from side to side, 5 inches from top to bottom. And then when you stamp a greeting up here and you close this, you want to make sure that you get that greeting high enough so it's covered by this top flap when you put it in there. So, and then this last piece, this is just fun. These stamps actually came from, I got them from Crackerbox Stamps, which is rubberartstamps.com. And they've got some really cute stamps, so this is the one I used for this. And as a matter of fact, the sentiments also came from Crackerbox Stamps. rubberartstamps.com. All one word, no punctuation. Okay, so what I did is I first stamped just the image on plain white paper, and then I ran it through my scan and cut, and I cut out, I actually made a whole bunch of them, so it wasn't like I just did one through my scan and cut. I actually cut out like a whole 12 by 12 inch sheet of paper stamped with this image. And then I just stamped on a little piece of, this is Bumblebee cardstock from, it's a retired Stampin' Up! Color. I fussy cut the lid, and then this paper is from American Crafts, and it's called The Color of Memories, and I just thought it was really cute paper. What I did here is I stamped just that center section, and then when I cut it out, I just cut straight across here because I have this little heart that I'm going to put on top of it. So it's a very easy cut, just to cut all the way around, just straight across here. And so I'm going to set those aside, but I do want to show you what I did with the heart, because the heart, when I put it onto the card, I can kind of show you here on this sample. When I put it on the card without that outline around it, it kind of disappeared into the background, and I wasn't real fond of that look. So what I did is and you can see on here it's got a black line around it. So what I did is I took a black marker, and this one actually is a retired, or this is a current marker actually from Stampin' Up! Stampin' Right marker, basic black. And I put my pen on the back part, because if I do this from the front, invariably I slip and I end up putting like a line all the way across the front. So if I do it from the back and I slip, it's going to put a line on the back, and who cares about the back? But I just go around the edge just very lightly with the side of the brush, and I just put that black line around the outer edge, and then that way it sets it off a little bit from the background behind it. So you can kind of see the difference. There it is shown on the card. Okay, so I'm going to set all this stuff aside, because through the magic of being able to do this on a video, oh, and I've got all these little tiny hearts, and I used a retired punch from Stampin' Up! And I thought I had it right here, but it's a border punch, and it just has all these itty bitty tiny hearts on it. So I just punched a bunch of them out of Sweet Sorbet cardstock, because that went pretty well with this design patterned paper. So I'm going to set most of this stuff aside. I'm going to keep the card base because I did not cut another one, so I'm going to use this one to assemble the card for you. I have already put the pieces together. So as you can see, this I think is this is a retired Stampin' Up! Color. They're both retired Stampin' Up! Colors. The top one I believe is Naturals Ivory, or Ivory Naturals, one of the two. And then the bottom piece is Bumblebee. So it's just a real rich dark black. And I'm going to use my little AdTech dot runner, micro dot runner, to get a little adhesive on here because it's smaller than my other tape runner. If I use this tape runner, you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to use just this little one that I always have on hand for the ladies in my classes because it's fairly inexpensive and works pretty well. And I'm just going to put that right in the inside here. And that's basically the inside until we get to the little coffee cup. So then I'm going to fold this down, and I'm going to take this piece, which I've already put together, and I'm going to again use my little dot runner, and that is going to go right here, so that when you fold it down, it's right in that little space. Then I have the square, same thing. I'm just going to put a little adhesive on it. Okay, I use a little more than a little adhesive. I sell a lot of my cards, and if they fell apart after I gave them to somebody, I would be mortified. So I probably go a little overboard on adhesives. But that piece is going to go right here. So now the only thing left is the happiness is. The happiness is we only want to have adhesive on this side. If you get adhesive on this side, what you're going to do is glue your card shut, which you absolutely do not want to do. So what I did is I actually put a little adhesive just right here onto this banner, or onto this square, and that way I know that it's not going to overlap. And that just goes right here in this corner. I think I got that a little crooked, but you know, a little crooked is probably okay. But I don't want it really a little crooked, so I'm going to straighten it out a little bit, I think. This particular adhesive is a little forgiving if you get it off right away. If you leave it for a few minutes, it's not going to come off easily. Okay, I got it soon enough. So that's a little more straight. So this is basically the card. Okay, now what I've done with this, I've already assembled this, and I used a little foam tape right here so that the lid, you can see the lid pops up just a little bit. And then this I just glued directly down. The sleeve I just glued onto the white piece. I cut it out, and then I glued it over the stamped image. And then this heart, I just put that right over the heart that was on the image. Then I used a little more foam tape. I put a couple of pieces of foam tape on the back to pop up the coffee cup. And, hello. Sometimes it's not as easy as you would think to get this backing off, but I still love using it. So, okay, that I closed the card to put this on because that shows me exactly where it's going to be in this corner. If I just have it open and put it here, I'm going to be guessing. So if I close it, that shows me exactly where it's going to show up in relation to the sides and the top. So I'm just going to put that right there. And that's it. The card is finished. Oh, no, it's not. Did I forget something? Yes, indeed I did. So I have a little bit of Tombow glue right here. And I actually have another glue that has a very fine tip applicator, but I forgot to bring, I knew I'd forget something. I forgot to bring that out here. So I'm going to bring back these little pieces, these little heart pieces, and I'm going to just put, oh, maybe a little dot here, a little dot here. Where else do I want a little dot? Maybe somewhere else. Maybe just here. And then I'm going to take these little guys, and I probably should use tweezers, but I'm not going to. and I just put those down onto the glue dot. It is so much easier than trying to put a little glue on these tiny little hearts. So put up one here, and then maybe I'll put one over here. Okay, so I have a few hearts up there, and then I thought I might as well put a few down here too. What the heck? So I just added in a few little dots, a few little hearts down in this area as well. So there's one, and here's one, and now I think this card is finished. What do you think? I hope you enjoy this video. As I mentioned, I will be putting the information about this card, the measurements and everything, on my blog, which is kathyscraftroom.blogspot.com. And I thank you very much for watching my video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.